Okay, we're doing the pump gun show. Hopefully. Wrong pump gun! Welcome to this week's show. This week on the show, we're covering something that's near and dear to me, and that is these babies right here. Good old pump guns. So, sit back, relax, and let's take a trip back into the old school. Wipe to much more interesting shots. When you're talking about pump guns, you're talking about two very specific styles, and this is the first one. This is a Sheridan-based pump gun. Now, if you're familiar with something like a Spider, then you pretty much know how the internals on this paintball gun works. This is one of the old guard, and when you hear pump players talking about getting brass, this is what they're talking about. Now, the other type of pump gun you might be familiar with is this one. This is a Nelson-style pump gun. It's called that because it's just like the original Nel spots. A lot of the modern pump guns are of the Nelson design. So these are the two basic styles of pump guns that are out there. Now occasionally you run into some hybrid weirdos, like the Sterling. Do you ever take those goggles off? But for the most part, it's all Nelson based or Sheridan based. Another thing to consider when you're talking about pump guns is direct feed over stock class feed. So what's the difference? Well, currently, my Phantom is set up for direct feed, which means that it has a feed neck right here that I can just stuff a hopper right on top of. Now, by comparison, a stock class body, like this one, would fit right in place of the direct feed body, pretty much just like this. And it holds about 10 rounds to 20 rounds, depending on the size of the stick feed. Plus, I would also have to use a 12-gram adapter like this if I was running pure stock class. Well, is there really an advantage to running stock class? Well, depends who you ask, but I'll tell you this. It's really rewarding to shoot somebody with a $1,500 gun when you've only got 10 rounds in your gun. Not that I know anything about that. Okay, so why would you voluntarily hinder yourself and play with a pump gun? Well, it's kind of like rock and roll. If I gotta explain, you wouldn't understand, but let me give it a try anyway. The biggest reason is it's a challenge. And it's a challenge you just can't get any other way. Because a pump gun takes away the one thing that most people take for granted, and that is firepower. So you have to look around, you have to notice things. So using a pump gun forces you to do things like, work on the triangle, stuff like, communications.
That's covered, move.
And angles and teamwork.
Other episodes, guys.
I got you, go! Hey man, they challenged us. So, exactly how do you play with a pump gun? That's another question that's commonly asked. Well, not really unlike playing with a semi, but, a lot slower rate of firepower. One of the things you need to learn how to do is aim. Figure out the trajectories of paintballs. Try to predict where they're going to go. Being able to thread a 68 caliber paintball through a 1-inch hole. It just takes a little practice. You can get there. Another thing to try to do is, you're playing mostly in the woods. Use it. You've got camouflage on, you're in the woods. Stealth over firepower works wonders, especially when you can stop a whole bunch of people moving up on you. And something else that I like to do is finesse over firepower. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if somebody's not shooting at you, move up on them. If you've got teammates behind you, yell at them and get them to help you. These are all just the basic skills of paintball. But when you remove the firepower that most people use, you gotta fall back and learn the skills. So hopefully this show gives you a quick primer on pump play. There's a lot more to learn than obviously I've given you here, but this should give you at least a starter. Go ahead and check out the web. There's a whole bunch of really great websites you can find out to get a little bit more information on where to get a pump and where games might be happening near you. Meanwhile, we got a game going on and I'm going upstairs. Later. Woohoo!